And our first invitation to be a part of the PALN came 3 years ago, and at that time, I think I was in the Senior Community Investment Officer position, then later was VP in Community Investment, and so now as the President and CEO. So I've actually participated in all three of those roles in different PALN efforts. Our deeper understanding of equity has definitely come from our participation in the PALN curriculum. Like every organization, we started with diversity because that matters too, and you can't possibly get to equity if you don't have the right people at the table. But I think we're understanding at a much deeper level that the institutional and structural isms in our community have created such deep inequities that sameness is only going to create more of that, and that in order for us to truly change and allow all of our community members to have equal access, we have to adjust and deepen our work where communities have been traditionally marginalized.
PALN was one strategy of TMP, Transforming Michigan Philanthropy, right? And I think they made a great choice in terms of how do you transform it, is you help foundations become more aware of their power dynamics in play that prevent them from actually getting to their goals. So our goal is community change. And I now believe and have a more fuller understanding of the power dynamics that get in the way of our ability to foster meaningful change. And so part of those dynamics is that most foundations believe that they have the knowledge on their own to then evaluate what they receive coming in. Meaning that, we know better than you, basically, right? And it's not that we ever openly say that, but our practices actually demonstrate that over and over again, because we don't really ask that many questions about, demonstrate the kind of openness that allows people to really say what's real. Mostly our conversations are community partners trying to tell us what they think we want to hear so that they can meet our worldview and get the money. Right? It's a transaction, a very skillful dance, and we engage in this. And so now we can see this more openly. And we're trying to do everything we can to disrupt that dance. And part of the disruption is saying, we don't know. There's a lot of stuff we don't know, and we have to go discover it. So that was my opportunity to then tell this group, we don't know what inclusion is. And now we have a board policy that tells us, go find out what it is. And if that disrupted people's points of view about what we know, great. Because I have a sense of it. I mean, PALN gave me a much deeper understanding of what inclusion looks like.
One thing that stands out to me from being the receptionist position, since I'm new to this position, I've only been in this one maybe, I've lost track, 8 weeks, was seeing people or meeting people wherever they were at. So somebody calls or somebody comes in and not keeping the norm of, are you a donor, and that the donors, in my opinion, get a little special attention, and grantees are a separate category, just not holding to those categories, and each person coming in is the person, and they count in that moment, and giving them the direct attention that they need, which I thought I was good at before, but now it was at a higher level, of understanding what it is they needed and really listening and being connected to that. In my new role, it's working with grantees, so I really try to take the time to understand what it is that they're coming from, and what their project is, and how I can really communicate with them in a more adaptive way versus just taking the information and moving through the transaction, really trying to understand, is it money, is it expertise, what are they really looking to us for, and how can we lead them, and maybe there's things that they don't even understand that they need, and so filling in those gaps.
A couple examples. One was, before we had done that, I had been in our kitchen watching one of my fellow staff people have a conversation on a telephone with a grantee. So a grantee had called the foundation, talking to their grant officer about a grant situation. And what I watched was my coworker having a very having a conversation that was in a manner that was uncomfortable to me. It wasn't yelling, but it was very direct. It was very short. It was very high energy, and it was very comforting to me. But I didn't say anything to her about it. And she was in my cohort. And so when we had the session about different conflict styles, I asked her about that particular situation that I had observed. And this coworker is African American. And I learned after I talked to her about it that the person on the phone was African American, and she was adopting her style, which wasn't really her regular style, to the person on the phone, because that is what they needed, was that heightened, emotional, very direct, very short way of responding.
For an organization that's really serious about changing their internal culture and their competencies around diversity, inclusion, and equity, we as a field and as leaders are always looking for high quality programs. We are always looking for programs that are based on data and evidence, programs that include best practices, that's founded in real research, incredible faculty. We want the best teachers, and we want programs that have assessments included in them so that you can tell if it's working. And unfortunately, there are very, very few of those, especially in diversity and inclusion work. And the thing about the PALN is that it has all of that. High quality faculty, evidence-based, practical, real world curriculum, and assessments to show you whether or not it's working. And so it's rare, and I guess the other really important thing is it's affordable. When you think about a program with all of those components that you could reasonably afford to purchase, and something that lasts for a year and has the coaching that's wrapped around it, it's a wonderful package that's affordable.